Yo and hello. Welcome to the bookshelf of Reddit, where we scour the forums to bring you the best stories from everyone's favorite homepage. This first story is called, "Hey, I need some help with Excel. I just got this email. It came in at 6:48 PM my time. I'm going to summarize. Hey person dude. Supervisor said you're pretty handy with Excel. Can you get us something similar to this for your department? We need it for a forecast meeting with head honchos tomorrow, but we will likely use it for market forecasting for FY20. You can use former finance analysts' old Excel sheets as a jumping off point. I'm offline for the rest of the night, but come online early tomorrow. Thanks. Senior Manager." Attached is a set of 5 Excel spreadsheets. The main one is about 2 megabytes, but it points to 3 spreadsheets each with about 20,000 rows of data. It's metrics for every sale their department has ever performed since 2012. By the way, my company is the largest in our industry and this branch does about $2 billion of sales a year. It's $15 billion of sales data over the last 7 years complete with macros, buttons, graphs, etc. He's asking me to build something similar for my department. In 13 hours. Literally weeks and weeks of work for a senior finance analyst. I'm not a senior finance analyst. Ticket closed. CC manager and 2 up. Unable to assist. Not an IT related issue. Please contact appropriate department. IT guy claims it was our mistake, didn't hang up the phone properly. I worked on a technical support help desk for an ISP that did broadband. We used to send these rubbish modems with a single Ethernet socket designed to be connected to a switch. We had a problem customer who kept reporting theirs had died, and we sent out new ones. They were cheap, and we didn't really care about sending new ones out. So the customer's IT guy calls in saying the modem isn't working correctly. It turns out he had connected modem into modem using RJ11 modem cable and thought he could run his business network off it. Trying not to laugh, I told him the hardware doesn't work like this and told him what to buy. The guy thanks me and hangs up, but doesn't hang up correctly, so the call is still connected. I hear him walk away from the phone and say to his boss they made a mistake and they are going to fix it. This annoyed me because I was proud of my work. I rang back and asked through reception to talk to his boss. I said, "I just spoke to your employee regarding your networking problems. He didn't hang up the phone properly, so I heard his conversation with you. I want to clarify we have made no mistake. Your employee is trying to use the hardware incorrectly and he lied to you." The guy thanked me for telling him and we ended the call. A few weeks later their new IT guy called. The old guy had been fired. Short version, guy failed to hang up phone, called me liar, rang back and told boss he got fired. There's no back door. I'm using the front door. I'm the one who made the door. I work in ops and part of my job is to build internal clusters that developers use for testing. Sometimes I have to create a unique kind of super admin user to apply certain settings to clusters that most devs never touch and usually forget about. The other day a dev came to me with a user issue on one of his clusters. I checked my keychain to see if I had any logins to it and found that I had a super admin saved. I log into the cluster using this to start debugging the issue and point out problems to the dev. His first response after seeing this was, "Dev, do you have a secret backdoor into my cluster? Me, ... Me, I'm the one who built this cluster for you. There's no back door. I'm using the front door. I'm the one who made the door." Not strictly tech support per se, but interesting nonetheless. Apologies for any formatting mistakes as I'm posting this from my phone. Dialogue is approximated as this happened a few months ago. Cast. Me is me. Friend is my computer knowledgeable ish friend. Ready? So I'm over at friend's place for a visit. This is a fairly common occurrence. However, his Windows 10 laptop has slowed down over the past few weeks to the point where Minecraft is unplayable and sometimes won't even launch. We deal with only being able to play on version 1.8.9 for a while, and then I get an idea. Me, "Hey, friend, you know how your laptop doesn't run Minecraft? His laptop has an i5-4120U or something like that. It should be more than capable of running Minecraft." Friend, "Yeah, me, I might have a solution for you. Linux." Friend was skeptical for a bit, but once we got to the Kubuntu installer his qualms pretty much disappeared. We finish installing and reboot into the new installation. Friend is impressed. We set up Minecraft. It works first try, and he's floored. I don't think he has rebooted into Windows 10 in about a month. TLDR friend couldn't run Minecraft, installed Linux. Minecraft runs great, and he loves it. Edit, clarifications. This is the Java edition of the game. Realms works flawlessly. I think we tried Optifine. The Windows launcher would crash with failed to download file or something similar. Do you mean we need to actually verify the backup? Diesel's tale gave me nightmare flashbacks to a previous employer. I was hired in an extremely fast process to replace the previous network admin, old guy, who had been fired on the spot a week before, for reasons I never learned. After learning backups were also my responsibility, I investigated the system. Basically, every Monday morning I would have to get the tapes from the backup system and put them in a secure transit case, which was then sent to offsite storage. Then I'd place new blank tapes in the system, so the backups could run over the next weekend. One of my first questions to my manager was when the last restore test had been. You guessed it, they had never done so under old guy, so I scheduled to have 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year old tapes get sent back from the storage location. Most were fine, but for a very critical database all turned out to not be blank, but hold the same data. Data that was at least 2 years old, going by the file dates and content. Turned out the backup backed up a single folder on critical system to tape, and that folder was supposed to hold a copy of the critical database that was copied over the day of the backup itself. I suspected that old guy had optimized the system at one point, so the actual process that copied the backup copy to the folder in question no longer worked, and the backup system was happily writing the same data week in week out to tape. I changed the backup to copy the actual critical database backup file instead, and scheduled a quarterly restore test to see if everything was working fine. After test restoring the first new weekly backup, the company was extremely lucky in that they never had a serious incident in the 2 years prior, and I had a very grateful manager before my first month trial period was even over. Ended up working there for a good year until the new management decided to outsource IT to India, and they went under a few years later. Of coffee. TLDR, no matter how much you prepare, check everything in everywhere. 3 years ago, me is obvious. Co-worker, not exactly happy. Devs, cooperative, just not good in administration. Financial company, near year's end. For those of you not familiar, this is reporting time, with lots of people going into stress level 11 on a scale of 1 to 5, because everything needs to be done yesterday or else penalties galore. On the reporting department there are 3 lockers dedicated, specifically, for storing hard liquor. Me, sees Java is out of date by about 2 major versions and some 50 security updates. Builds package to update and clear out old versions. Checks the list of software based on Java. Checks each and every application on that list if it will survive on the new version. Tells some developers to get their act together. Devs deliver new versions of their software, which works flawless on the new version. Me puts new Java into test environment. Tests with devs and key users. Get an OK. Puts new Java into acceptance environment. Tests with devs and key users. Get an OK. Communicates to each and every person involved. We will update Java and now is the time to come forward about anything they might think is using Java. Silence. Me starts rolling out to a small group including the key users in production. All hell breaks loose. How? Wait. What? Co-worker. You. Me. What on earth? Me. Good question. I have been preparing this from A to Z with all people involved in T&A and now pilot group NP. I don't understand. Co-worker, they are reporting issues on App C, App F and App Q. What the actual frick? Me, right, this isn't funny, I will come over and check. No point for guessing. The backends in production environment for those apps were not yet updated to the version they had in TA. Not safe for work. Now what? Well, it turned out all of the client software was already virtualized with App V. If you want to know, all I had to do was package the older version of Java inside the bubble for the App C, App F, App Q clients and all was well again. Fallout, minimal production loss, 1 year older in a few hours and an actual complete list of software dependent on Java, plus much tighter version, control on all applications. Not a bad score. Time for New Year's Eve. PS, coffee is sometimes referred to as a cup of Java. Help desk is confused. It hurt itself in its confusion. I've worked in IT on and off for years, and unfortunately sometimes IT staff can be the problem. Some years ago, when Microsoft bought Skype, I was with the Megacorp's IT department and we were rolling out the first upgrade that patched Link to look like Skype. For some insane reason, deployment began the night before a statutory holiday weekend, perhaps in the hopes less people would be affected. Unfortunately, half our company was based in a country that didn't have a holiday that day, so myself and 2 other overtime guys, let's call them Jay and Bob, had to support thousands of staff. Jay was a nice guy who did his job well, like many of first line, not a qualified programmer, but competent enough to troubleshoot, repair software, diagnose issues and kick severe stuff up to second line. Bob, meanwhile, had dreams of becoming an engineer, but had no formal training, and instead believed that if he wrote enough automation scripts he would be promoted any day now. This wouldn't be a problem on a normal day, because we just stick up a banner explaining the help desk is short-staffed, but the deployment went wrong and literally every user account was throwing up an error when launching Skype, and so we were bombarded with contacts. Jay figured out that simply deleting a couple of files in the user folder would fix the issue for the day, and so we bravely fought against the flood of contacts until Bob decided enough was enough. Without telling anyone, he wrote a script to delete that file remotely, pointed it at Jay's laptop, and fired it up. Moments later, concern in his voice, I hear Jay ask if anyone else's laptop is acting weird. I cross over, and, sure enough, Jay's computer is not having a fun time. That's when, sheepishly, Bob admits that he deployed his script and that, rather than deleting 2 files from the user folder, it began deleting everything on Jay's C drive. Bob is no longer allowed to write his own scripts. Thank you for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the stories. If you did, please like and subscribe. We'll be actively releasing more Reddit stories, so be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified the moment a new video comes out. Later, my dudes.